Friday, April 25th. In Greece, having managed to stall the march of the Germans at Thermopylae to facilitate the evacuation of the Allied troops, the British soldiers retreat and try to establish a new defensive line at Thebes, south of the plateau of Boeotia and to the northwest of Athens. Meanwhile, the Allied evacuation proceeds from different ports and beaches. In Nauplia, more than 5,000 Australians are rescued by the ships Perth, Stuart, and Voyager. Hitler issues Directive No. 28 after being persuaded by Hermann Göring to accept the plans of General Kurt Stuart, the commander of the paratroopers who led the remarkable assault against Fort Eben Emael in Belgium. The directive orders the invasion of Crete under the codename of Operation Mercury, Mercure. In Washington, President Roosevelt declares at a press conference that Greece can rely on American aid until its liberation. Following to yesterday's speech by Charles Lindbergh, he says that the famous aviator has not been called to arms because of his views. In North Africa, Rommel's troops attacked the ravine of Halfaya in Egypt, near the Libyan border, and forced the British forces to withdraw to Buk and Sidi Barrani. Saturday, April 26th. In Greece, airborne German troops invade the Corinthian Isthmus, the strip of land surrounded by the Ionian and Aegean seas that connects the Peloponnese with continental Greece, aiming to cut off the Allied retreat. The blowing up of bridges hinders the actions of the Germans, and even though they manage to isolate some of the Australian forces, most of the British troops manage to reach the ports from which they are to be evacuated. Hitler leaves Monikkirchen in Austria to tour northern Yugoslavia. The Irish government decides not to allow the British to use their ports and airfields. Luftwaffe aircraft bomb Sunderland and Newcastle in northeast England. The RAF carries out raids on the German bases of Kiel on the Baltic Sea and Bremerhaven and Wilhelmshaven on the North Sea, as well as attacking Berlin. Stalin orders General Georgy Zhukov, chief of the Red Army's general staff, to put all troops on alert and to transfer soldiers from the east to the west by early June. In the United States, the bill on the seizure of ships is passed. In North Africa, in Libya, heavy artillery fights take place around Tobruk and Sollum. Sunday, April 27th. The German army occupies the deserted city of Athens. The swastika is hoisted over the Acropolis following the death of Ev's-own guard Konstantinos Kokidis, who committed suicide draped in a Greek flag rather than surrendering it to the Germans. The Italian forces take Corfu in the Ionian Sea. To date, 15,700 Greeks, 13,700 Italians, 3,710 British, and 2,200 Germans have lost their lives. The evacuation of Allied troops continues despite the harassment of the Luftwaffe, which in the last few days has sunk 26 ships, killing thousands of men. General Franz Halder, chief of the Army General Staff, sends General Friedrich Paulus to northern Africa to keep an eye on Rommel, whom Halder considers to be unstable. Paulus inspects the area of Tobruk and for the time being forbids the chief of the Africa Corps to launch any new attacks against the city. In East Africa, the Italian troops abandon Desie in Abyssinia, Ethiopia, which is taken by the British. In Singapore, British, Dutch, and American delegates meet to plan a coordinated response to a Japanese attack in the area. Monday, April 28th. With the occupation of Athens and the invasion of the Peloponnese by German troops, Operation Marita comes to an end. Once again, Hitler returns to Berlin as the great victor of another lightning campaign, but this one will be the last. In London, speaking on the radio, Winston Churchill assesses the catastrophe in the Balkans. Commenting on the German counteroffensive in North Africa, he argues that the British army was taken by surprise and praises the heroic defense of Tobruk. He ends by promising that Hitler and Mussolini will be defeated by the firm determination of the British and Americans. In Washington, President Roosevelt orders the freezing of all Greek financial assets in the country. At the same time, Charles Lindbergh, annoyed by the president's recent comments, resigns as colonel of the United States Army Air Corps. In the Middle East, in Iraq, troops loyal to the dictator Rashid Ali close the airbase at Habanija and surround the area, trapping 2,200 soldiers and 9,000 civilians. The British government fears that Rashid's forces are being armed by the Germans. In North Africa, the forces of the Axis, led by Rommel, take Salem in Egypt. Tuesday, April 29th. In Berlin, the German foreign minister, von Ribbentrop, suggests to Hitler that troops should be deployed in Iraq to support Rashid Ali's coup d'etat. But the Nazi leader is absorbed by Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union, and Operation Mercury, the crushing of the Allied armies in Crete. During a speech addressed to new cadets, Hitler exclaims, "If you were to ask me how long the war will last, my only answer would be, as long as it takes to win." In the United States, President Roosevelt accepts the resignation of Charles Lindbergh. The Lockheed Aircraft Company is authorized by the government to manufacture 4-engine planes, which will be able to take up to 80 passengers from North America to Europe in flights estimated to take 10 hours. Hans Thomson, the German ambassador in Washington, informs his government that the Americans have cracked the Japanese secret code known as MAGIC. Since the conflict began, Britain has lost more than half of its merchant navy. In the Middle East, in Iraq, Rashid Ali orders the cutting off of the oil pipelines that are supplying the British Army. Wednesday, April 30th. In Crete, the commander of the British troops in North Africa, Archibald Wavell, inspects the situation of the forces that have been evacuated from Greece. Bernard Freeburg, commander of the 2nd New Zealand Division, is put in charge of the island's defense. Meanwhile, German planes attack the Bay of Suda, seriously damaging the ships anchored there. In London, Winston Churchill announces in the House of Commons that of the 60,000 men sent to Greece, 15,000 have been killed, taken prisoner, or disappeared. The Prime Minister orders a naval blockade of Greece and its islands, excepting Crete. He also informs the House that in the Battle of Britain, in the last 2 months, the German bombing raids have killed more than 10,500 people and wounded 11,600 in different places throughout the country. In the Battle of the Atlantic, the troop ship Nerissa is torpedoed by German submarines. 73 Canadian soldiers drowned. The commanders of the Kriegsmarine warn that in response to Roosevelt's declarations, all ships entering the war zone will be attacked. In the past month, the U-boats have sunk 89 Allied freighters. In Washington, the Secretary of the Navy, Republican William Frank Knox, declares that the United States will mass-produce merchant vessels for Great Britain. In North Africa, in Libya, RAF aircraft bomb Benghazi. Rommel's troops launch a major attack against Tobruk and are able to open a breach in the defensive line.